What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 office-friendly fragrances that are also very unique that you could wear to the office. So these are fragrances that I brought with me to my work trip. And yeah, I'm pretty much wearing these to the office. They are a little bit unique. Maybe you smelled them before. Just because they're unique doesn't mean that they're really hard fragrances to wear. I'll leave the last one for probably the hardest one to wear. But we get started with Tom Ford's Bois Pacifique. So if you think about something like a Bon Fumé, but a little bit fresher, this is pretty much what you're getting here. It's woody, but not woody in like your typical woody fragrance. It's like a redwood. And like I said, kind of smells like a Bon Fumé if you smelled that, but a fresher version of it. If you do own a Bon Fumé and you wish you had something that was easier to wear, I would say this, because it's light, fresh. It's not going to be as, I'm not sure if a Bon Fumé is polarizing, but I'm going to say this is not that polarizing, but it is a unique scent. You're not really going to come across a lot of people wearing this kind of DNA. Again, this DNA is more towards like a Bon Fumé. There was another fragrance that I had that kind of reminded me of that. I think it was agar wood, or I think it was agar wood by Dunhill. I do have that fragrance. I just haven't had that much time or experience with it, just because obviously I got that private collection pretty recently. But yeah, that's the only fragrance that kind of DNA it reminds me of. But that Dunhill fragrance is a little bit more smoky than a Bon Fumé. But yeah, Tom Ford Bois Pacifique, one of probably the best released this year. Then I'm gonna go with Amouage Diamant. So Amouage Diamant is not actually not that popular. So what this kind of reminds me of is Dior's Spice Blend. But again, you don't really hear too much talk about Dior's Spice Blend either. This fragrance, not spicy as in like there's something like creamy, kind of smells like brown sugar, but it's not. I wouldn't say like old school smelling. Maybe it's some kind of florals in there that kind of give it that slight vintage vibe, but not really. But yeah, this is a really nice fragrance. If you tried Spice Blend from Dior and you want something similar, I would say Amouage Diamant. Amouage Diamant is a fragrance that honestly I didn't know too much about. The only reason I got it was because the perfumer for Jubilation 25 also came out with this fragrance. So I went ahead and I went for it, and it was a safe blind buy. Reasons was kind of in the DNA of this Bois Pacifique or Bon Fumé by Tom Ford. So I like the DNA, but not that much, or I don't love it enough to own a few different versions of it. But for Spice Blend, that kind of DNA, obviously it holds a special meaning to me. So something that smells similar to it, plus it's an Amouage, it's a win for me. Like, I'm okay with having the similar DNA. Plus my wife does wear Spice Blend, so if she wears Spice Blend and she wants me to wear something similar, this is something I would wear. But yeah, slight differences for it to not be like the same fragrance. But yeah, like I don't really see myself selling one or the other, just because to reduce redundancy, which I normally do in my collection. That DNA is just something it's unique, it's special. Kind of smells like a Dolce & Gabbana, the one, but just elevated, made better. Maybe like a more niche, high quality take to it, but still not being like super hard to wear. It's honestly a really easy wear, especially now for the cooler weather. Now that the temperature is going, starting to cool down a little bit. This is kind of like 2 perfect fragrances for the transition period, as well as just to wear them in cold weather. It kind of matches that fall vibe as well. And then lastly, the most unique fragrance, that this is probably going to be the most polarizing, but I've pretty much fallen in love with this fragrance ever since I got it. When I first got it, I really was not the biggest fan of it. Now I'm a really big fan. I put it on my hand, in the back of my hand the other day, and I was like, I got to bring this fragrance with me just so I can wear it more often. And it's going to be Beach Hut Man by Homage. If you've gotten your nose on this just once and you hated it, I would still tell you to get a sample, get a decant, just wear it a few times, and trust me. Especially if it's been like a few months, I'll revisit it. Just trust me, revisit it. I get the opening is like, it could be a little weird. And no, it doesn't smell anything like a beach. It doesn't really smell anything like, like sunscreen or anything like that. It's green, minty, but the way it kind of goes is kind of like a classic barbershop, but like more intense. Really nice fragrance. Like I said, I put it on the back of my hand the other day. And just putting it one spray on the back of my hand, it was like, I felt like it was just all around me all the time, because I put that spray on before I went to bed. And when I woke up, I felt like it was just all over the bed. That's how strong this stuff is with one spray. So if you hated it just because you might have oversprayed, I've oversprayed this fragrance, and not really the biggest fan when I overspray it. But if you go into like 2 to 3 sprays, sits nicely in the air. You can smell it all the time. Get yourself some whiffs from yourself. Just because if you overspray it, it kind of gets a little weird with how it's like kind of like a weird, I wouldn't say like sweetness, but kind of. I wouldn't even know what kind of sweetness it would be. But it does come across a little bit weird smelling if you do overspray it. This one's better to catch, if someone catches a sillage, or a scent trail, or maybe if the sillage is a little bit more intimate, like you're just standing close to somebody and they smell it. This is not a fragrance I would recommend if you really enjoy punching people in the face with your fragrance and you're like doing 10 sprays of it. I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, these are 3 unique office-friendly fragrances that I definitely recommend. I brought them with me to wear to work, and not smell like everybody else. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of designer fragrances, or just like your typical designer fragrances, like your Invictuses and 1 Millions and all that fun stuff. I just don't find any value in those fragrances, at least just for me in my collection, especially because I know I wouldn't wear them if I were to buy them. It's just to say I have them. But I could care less about telling people what I have either. So I just don't really have any in my collection, especially things that I really don't enjoy wearing. So, but yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one, guys.